Hi, everyone. I'm Peaceful Nik, the medium,
Hello, and I am Abby, the Cannastrologer.
and we are here to talk about mediumship, spiritual awakenings, tarot, and astrology. What do you have on tap coming up, Abby?
So, happy March, everyone. Right now, I am just doing my basic readings. I've got all of that information. I believe you got it listed in the description below this video.
Mhm.
Just my tarot readings. I also do natal charts. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get all of the updates of everything, the workshops and classes that I'm offering throughout the rest of March. But that's about it right now for me.
Aw- Awesome. And I have actually a flash sale for tomorrow. I'll have to mention this a couple of times. I'm waiting for some chats to come in. Um, I have opened 2 spots for tomorrow to add to the rest of my reading spots. So if you register for a reading for tomorrow, use the code BOGO50, you'll get 50% off, and all the links are below. And I just started a new wonderful, awesome thing with Kathi Behrens. We are doing the Spirit Exchange, and this is an annual membership where you will get 10 gallery style readings over the course of the next year. This would regularly be priced at $250, but right now we have it for the price of one full reading. For only $150, you get 10 galleries. Plus, if you sign up by March 18th, you get a free private reading with either myself or Kathi. You can catch us live on TikTok every Thursday at 7:30 Eastern. You also will be giving away a prize at the end of each gallery. And we already have several people signed up, so sign up now before the spaces run out. All that's also linked below. And my beginner's mediumship class starts March 16th. So I'll be happy to answer any questions about that. So, spiritual awakening, Abby. Do you
Oh,
want to go first and tell your story?
well, I mean, I could. It's really interesting that we're doing awakenings today because I had a meeting. Like I'm part of the cannabis industry, so I was meeting with an old colleague, and it was really interesting because, and I'm not going to like share her whole story. I'll save that for maybe a later time. I didn't, ask her anything, but it was just really interesting because she is old school OG industry, cannabis industry. She's been around longer than I have, and she kind of like dropped off the face of this earth like for the last couple months.
Hmm.
And I I noticed right away she had also reached out to me about something that she was, starting to embark upon, and then she just recently got back. And so we met today, and turns out she had basically, long story short, experienced an awakening and didn't know exactly what was going on with her, right?
Oh,
But I mean,
wow.
she went straight down the rabbit hole and then decided to go all in. And it was, and this kind of touches upon what we talked about last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. The different variations, different kinds of mediumship and divination and spirituality.
Hmm.
There's those of us who do tarot, there's those of us who do evidential mediumship, there's those of us who do Reiki and breath work and things like that. Well, that's what she jumped into, was breath work.
Mm.
She had an awakening through a course, a class, and it was so life changing that, she wanted to explore that even further. And so that was a lot of our conversation and how that actually integrates with our lives on a professional side as well. And I just thought it was really cool because like she's saying all the things and I'm like, yep, that's an awakening. And yep, I
Mhm.
experienced that. And or I've heard that, a very similar stories, from those who have had awakenings, and it's just like that. And I was like, it's ironic that we're talking about this today since I'm going to be discussing this later in our live stream, with another medium that I do.
Coincidences.
Yeah,
Coincidences.
and and it's not a coincidence. It's like everything happens for a reason. It's
Mhm.
the universe pulls and connects these dots for us on purpose, so we're mentally prepared for when it happens. Um, my it's funny because I now what is it, that phrase, hindsight
Mm.
is 2020 or whatever.
Yeah.
um I look back and I realize that I had actually probably experienced multiple awakenings, but the big one, the big bang, if you will, that I remember probably the most was it's actually it's kind of what we were talking about before we went live. It was the situation that I had actually, and I'll talk about it. It was a situation where I had found out that I was pregnant and I didn't know that I was pregnant, and I ultimately ended up having a miscarriage, and we didn't realize that's what it was until I went to the emergency room because I was like very sick, and it it created chaos, and I was the father left me the very next day. We had been
Mm.
together for 18 months. He was a millionaire, no joke, and that's not why we were together, but it made it that much worse. Is like somebody in that kind of position just could discard somebody that they'd been with for 18 months, and not knowing even the details, but just assuming things, and then just throwing a person away to figure out
Mm.
life and heal themselves again on their own. And that's ultimately what happened to me. Is I was left without insurance, I was left without money, I was left without anything, and the doctors literally said, "You're dying, like you could have been dead had you not
Were you
come in."
septic?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh my
but
God.
I ended up getting an infection also in my face because just my metabolism was all shut down, and it took over my face. And I forget what it was called, but it was like a very rare like staph infection. And
MRSA?
yes, that's
Mhm.
exactly what that was.
Mhm.
And
And that can come back anytime, by the way,
my
for the
face,
rest of your
I
life.
got the antibacterial stuff just in
Oh,
case. Like, yeah.
good.
But my face looked like that character from the Goonies. Like, "Hey,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
guys." Like, that was me. That's what my face looked
Oh.
like when all of that had happened. And so anyway, I remember as I was healing from that, and like by grace of God, I had a friend that would go to the store for the penicillin and the medicine for me that the doctors prescribed. And I was so sick, I couldn't get out of bed or anything
Mm.
like that. And I was praying. I didn't know who I was praying to, what I was praying to. I was so distraught after just
Mm.
being left to die. And I, told my spirit guides and told, my ancient ancestral line, and whatever you wanted to believe in at that time, or what I was just speaking to whoever, and I said, just if you can please save me from this, I promise that I am going to help others, with their awakening, help others with their
Mhm.
spirituality. I will do whatever you tell me to do, just please keep me alive for myself and my daughter, or
Okay.
daughters. I have two girls. And I got through it slowly but surely. I got through it. And it's like I had already been on the path, but once this happened, um, it was like an explosion where just all the dots for me started to connect. And I was having out of body experiences. I couldn't sleep at night. I was wide awake, feeling like, my heart chakra was just bursting outside of my body, and I was being lifted, and I think I
Mm.
was doing probably a lot of, what is that called when you're like in that trans like a trance almost, and you're experiencing other portals and whatnot. But I can't think of the term right now, and I can't.
Astral traveling?
Thank you. Yes, as I was absolutely astral traveling. And it just, and it never goes away, but at that time I couldn't control anything or didn't exactly know what it was until after it happened. And then I was researching it, and it was just
Mhm.
blowing my mind left and right, and I'm like, so that's
Mhm.
what this is. And then I realized, time went by because this has been years by now. And I realized that you can still have awakenings based on any traumatic things that happen, anything that jolts you, out of your norm, because it's meant for a stage of ascension or of growth. Like that's what
Mhm.
triggers your growth. If you're not growing, you're not learning anything. You're in a
Mhm.
state of being too comfortable, and so
And if you're not experiencing pain, you're not growing.
thousand
That's
percent.
what a lot of people don't understand. Why is my life this way? Well, we may we signed up for this crap, unfortunately.
I literally said that today in the conversation. I was like, because, she kept on saying, "I'm so sorry to hear everything that I've been going through and, experiencing it professionally in the last year and stuff." And I was like, you know what? I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry too. It sucks." But it's like, it's meant to happen. Like there's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why I'm going through it. There's going to be a reason why you know, it all connects. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way that we look at it, and use that experience and use that knowledge and wisdom in order to help us move forward. So anyway, that was like my big awakening. It also happened to be right around the Lionsgate portal, which I think is important to also mention, at least in my case. I
Was
do
that the
know.
8-8, the 8-8
Mhm.
something? Eight,
Yeah,
yeah.
in August. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know a lot of other people that have experienced like their big massive awakenings around that time, but I know it's not the same for everybody, and I realize that.
Mm-hmm.
But that just happened to be the time frame of when mine actually went down. My big one, because again, I know that I've experienced many of them, but that's the one where I was like having the conversations and like really
Mm-hmm.
speaking. And then when it happened, it was like an explosion. And once you tap in and you start to see, it's like you can never unsee again.
Uh,
Then
I posted something about that yesterday or the day before. Once you cross that line, you can't go back. You can't
mm-mm.
can't it's just you can't. You might try to go back, but you can't ever stay. If you do, I would say 1 in a million people may be able to go back, just because I think that when the spiritual awakening happens, it's so hard for some people because maybe they're living a superficial life and they don't know that this is supposed to happen and you're supposed to go to this next phase. And so it freaks them out so bad.
It freaks them out, like shocks their system. Yeah, I've
Oh,
seen it
or
happen.
family and friends insult them to such a degree and judge them to such a degree that they just say, forget it, I'm going back.
Yeah.
But like
But
for
they still
me,
is half the time they still know it's there. They're
yeah,
running from it, like
yeah,
running in fear.
yeah.
It's the
And
flight or fight,
it can, yeah, it can be masked as an addiction or some other kind of problem, but you know it's there lingering. You know it's there. Um, I had several things happen in my life, and my mom passed away when I was 15, just suddenly. Um, that was, obviously a traumatic experience, but I knew in the instant, and I was talking to someone today about this because I was telling them we were going to have this live. I knew in that instant that literally I couldn't even cry because I knew there was a specific reason why she died. And I can tell you without going into details, there was absolutely a specific reason why she died, and it completely changed my entire life for the better. I know that sounds crazy, but it put me on a trajectory to have other opportunities for better education, to live in a better place, et cetera, et cetera. And Ray wants to know, does a person have to have clairs, one or more, to be a medium? Well, so I'll answer that question in my story, okay? So then I read the Celestine prophecy in the mid 90s. That was a huge awakening for me. And then in 2014, my niece Mandy bought me a book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That
Oh
was
yeah.
another huge awakening. I have
Great.
read that book. I have it on my bookshelf like 50,000 times. It's so
Yeah.
highlighted, you can't even hardly read it anymore.
Mhm.
And but my biggest awakening was when I had my first mediumship experience. And so this is where I'll answer about the clairs. So a friend called, my sister called me to tell me a friend's son had died. I've told the story many times, and I have permission from the mom to tell it. And as soon as she said the son died, in my head, I knew it was a drug overdose. And I just kind of blew it off because I have claircognizance. I did not know I had it my whole life. I thought everybody knew things before they were going to happen. I know that sounds insane now, but I didn't know any better. And I laid down to take a nap a little while later, and it's broad daylight, and I wasn't laying down 10 to 30 seconds. And so I was still awake. And in my mind's eye, I could see, and hear this person, this 25-year-old young man, look at me. I could see his red sweater, his gold chain, his black hair, his entire face. And he said, "Tell my mom I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it." And I was shocked. That was the biggest moment of spiritual awakening for me as far as becoming a medium. And so I use my claircognizance, which is clear knowing, my clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing. So all of those kind of came in that day. And that was my first real mediumship experience. And that set me on the road. That was um 5.5 years ago. That sent me on a road of learning mediumship and changed my entire life. Now I'm a full-time medium. And so, Ray, there are clairs you may have that you don't know you have, especially most people don't realize they have
That part.
claircognizance.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was waiting to say that too. Yeah.
Yeah. We may not realize it because it's subtle. It's not always very dramatic. Like when you get a sign from someone, it may be subtle. Um, when you get a message from someone, it may be subtle. I believe my first mediumship experience with Brandon was the gentleman's name. I believe that was so dramatic and strong to get my attention because I think I was getting messages all along. Like I always could feel someone standing behind me in the kitchen. And I just saw another medium make a video about this the other day. I always can feel someone standing behind me. I know it's my mother. She's been with me all along, but I can feel her when I'm cooking. She's standing right behind me. Sometimes I'll lay down and take a nap and I'll feel somebody standing behind the couch.
Yeah.
I don't get scared, but I'm like, "Can you go away? Because
Yeah.
I want to rest."
You can feel the presence for
Yeah, you
sure.
can I can feel their energy. So your clairs can be subtle. They don't have to be dramatic, hit you over the head. So you
Yeah.
probably have clairs. And if you only have one, you can develop the other ones over time. And you don't have to have all six or whatever, how many ever people say there are. There's like five or six main ones. You don't have to use all of them. I use probably three: claircognizance, clairvoyance, and clairaudience regularly. The rest of them and clairsentience, clear feeling I get regularly. But the rest of them I don't really use. You can be a medium and use one clair, but you'll be a better medium, a more um, wide ranged medium if you learn to develop the other ones, and your spirit guides will help you like that. And
Right.
I
And
do have a class starting in March. If you want to know more, you can email me.
I was going to absolutely agree with you on that as well because and I think this is a great point where we can discuss like the difference between an awakening and then like your first like mediumship experience because for me the awakening wasn't an actual I mean it was an experience in itself, but it wasn't like I wasn't being talked to and that was the awakening. I had already had experiences happen to me throughout my life. The
Hmm.
awakening part was me realizing, like having my remembering and realizing that that's what all of this is. Like that's the connection. Like I've been talking to my spirits the entire time. Like you said about not realizing that everybody couldn't
Isn't
see things ahead of time. That was the same with me. Like growing up, I'm like, everybody doesn't have a conscience. They can't hear voices in their head that telling them it's good and evil. Like there's like, what about Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio? Like that's, I thought everybody had that.
I thought everybody knew what someone was going to say before they said it.
Yeah.
Like that's why it drives my husband crazy. We've been married 28 years. Can you believe that, Abby? Isn't
That's
that
a lot.
crazy?
Yeah.
We were so young when we first met.
I know. We've known each other for a long time. I'm like, wow, we're old.
And it drives him crazy for years because before I was a medium, I could just predict and know what he was going to say, what he was going to do, anything he didn't tell me. I already knew, and it drove him crazy. But I didn't know everybody doesn't have that. I just didn't know. And
So So here's a prime example to kind of also describe what I was talking about, because you knew me at this time. Um, well, yeah, was I in Savannah then? No, we were still in Dayton, but moving to Savannah, and then that's when we met. But because I've talked about this before, um, when I first met my ex-husband, and it was before he decided to join the military. He was an Army Ranger, and that's what ultimately took me down to Savannah, Georgia, where I met you. But the very first thing I said, and this was before I had realized or had my awakening, like my real big awakening,
Mm-hmm.
and realized that I truly had gifts and abilities, and claircognizance and whatnot. And I immediately, he tells me that he wanted to join the army and become an Army Ranger, and I said, the moment you do that, we're going to be going to war. And he goes, that's crazy. We haven't been to war forever. He's like, that's not going to happen. XYZ, blah, blah, blah. You're insane.
Of
So,
course.
okay, of course, whatever. We get told that all the time. Well, his first day of boot camp, the actual first day of boot camp was the actual 9/11. Boom.
Wow.
And we went to war. And,
Wow.
and he went through every single one of his classes and boot camp, whatever's like in a row. They were, and he became an Army Ranger. That's what took us down to Savannah, Georgia, and that's where I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that had happened to me my entire life. Just like you said, it's like, what people, you don't know what
Yeah.
people are going to say.
It's
I
shocking.
always
It's
answer
shocking
people's,
not to know. Yeah.
yeah, it's just part of it. And but the interesting thing is like the premonitions that I get, like the big ones like that. I also hypothesize, and it's for some reason for me, and it freaks me out. And this is probably why I try to block it as much as possible. It's always the bad things that I prophesize that comes
Mm-hmm.
true.
Mm-hmm.
And like I prophesized a plane going down, a plane crashing, and then 20 minutes later, or 30 minutes later, I was in the schoolyard picking up my daughter when we first moved here, and an airplane had crashed, and everybody's phones were going off in the area because it had
Mm-hmm.
crashed in the area right after I said it out loud. And I got angry at myself for saying something so evil, but then it happened. And then I was freaked out, feeling like I caused it, like, and that was the whole guilt remorse thing that I've learned to deal with too. But like, it's just very interesting. And then but it wasn't until years later that I actually had my true awakening, that I realized, oh my God, all this stuff has been happening to me because like I'm supposed to be paying attention to this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be fostering this. But I've always said my entire life, I've known about myself that I'm clairaudient the most. I get all of my messages, well, not all of them, but most of my messages through music. I'm able to
Mm-hmm.
manifest the best in the most efficiently through music. That's why in all of my tarot readings, almost all of my tarot readings, I always start out with a song that
Mm-hmm. I
I've,
noticed that.
meditated in. Yeah. So that's, and 9 times out of 10, it'll always relate to what comes out in the reading as well, just because that's where I get a lot of my messages from. So those clairs, those gifts, those abilities, they do come out and they do develop over time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it starts with one, and once you have had that awakening, you realize that that's what it is. I feel like it happens a lot faster because you're more open to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like numerology. Once you start seeing the numbers, oh my god, then it's like make matrix
A
you know
cascade. So yeah, so I wanted to go back to my awakening story. Mine happened in stages. I think I had a lot of medium size awakenings, like with my mom dying, the books. I've read so many books, it's ridiculous. And those really, I read Toxic Parents in the 90s. That was a great that was a great awakening. It was very healing. But the major awakening that completely shifted me was when I had my mediumship experience. I was already on the, spiritual awakening trajectory, but that mediumship experience changed my life in a way I can never not be a medium. It's not going to happen. And spirit is funny because I'm a full-time medium now.
right?
And I wasn't sad for 1 second when that happened. I didn't shed a tear. I wasn't anxious. I wasn't nervous. I was just like, all right, here we go. And my
So
husband was so supportive of it. He was like, all right, here we go. I trust you. You're going to be fine.
what's interesting is my first real true mediumship experience, and I've talked about this one before. Even though like the others happened, right? But I wasn't consciously aware at that time that's what was happening.
Right.
So my first mediumship experience was on Day of the Dead. I was
Mm.
literally sitting in front of my altar praying to my ancient ancestors, past on friends, family, and loved ones, and paying homage and, just meditating. I was just sitting there meditating. That was it. And all of a sudden, clear as day,
Mhm.
almost like, somebody just like picked up I don't know, like a cup or something and put it right here to my ear or something. Just, hey there, like talking right
Mhm.
to me, just like this. But
Mhm.
it was my girlfriend's mother who
Mm.
had passed away when we were 9 years old. And it was like crazy because I never, don't necessarily think about her,
Mhm.
or I hadn't talked to her daughter, who used to be my old pen pal growing up, like years. We hadn't talked to each other in years, but we were connected
Oh, I
on
remember the
social.
story.
Right. And clear as day, though, I hear her mother speaking to me, and I knew immediately who she was. And she was like, "You just got to tell her. You tell her it's okay.
Mm.
Just tell her it's, give her this message and tell her it's okay." And I'm like, what is happening right
Mhm.
now? I thought I
Mhm.
was going legitimately crazy.
So
I
did I.
was, and I mean, like you said, you were calm about it. And yeah, I was calm. I was like, this is actually happening. But I thought that I was going mental. And then the next day happened to be the day before, like, one of the big voting days or something. Cause it's like
Mhm.
Day of the Dead, it was November something, right around there.
November 1st is Day of the Dead,
Right.
and
But it
election
was
day is always a couple days later.
an election day, like real close by, real near. And
Mhm.
and I had made a post, and out of nowhere, the daughter of this woman reaches out to me after years of not talking to each other. And she's like, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you I'm really proud of you, and I see you on social all the time and blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh my
Oh
god."
my god.
I was like, I've got to tell you something right now. And I don't know how you're going to take it, but I don't want you to be upset. I want you to know that I have nothing but love.
Mhm.
But by the way, your mother came through to me and she told me to tell you this. And I explained it to her, and I tried to be as compassionate as possible. And she immediately called me and she was crying and she said, "You have no idea of all the
Mhm.
stuff that's been going on in my life right now. I was literally praying to God, asking for a sign to hear from my mother, and you just answered that prayer."
Mm.
And she was bawling in tears, and I was just like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Like, I wasn't just saying this, like, I had no idea,
Mhm.
And then the other interesting thing to that was then, talking about feeling crazy and people thinking we're crazy. But like, so I called my mom because my mom happened to know who I was dealing with, and was friends with the mother who had deceased, was deceased since we were 9. And I was like, "This just happened to me, mom." And you know how, by this point I was doing tarot readings for everybody and stuff, but I was like, this experience just happened. And I swear to God, she came through and was speaking to me. And then, I explained the whole situation. And my mom goes, "What day did you say this was?" And I was like, "I think it was on Sunday." And she goes, "That's so strange." She goes, "Because I was thinking of her mother that same very day, like on
Mm.
Sunday, as I was driving XYZ, and she popped into my mind. And I was like, "Oh my God, she was trying to reach out to you first. She was
Mhm.
trying to connect through you, and instead she connected through me."
They
And
can feel it. They can feel when our antennas are up.
it was at that point that my mom truly started believing and not thinking that I was as crazy as I sounded. She was like, "Wait a second. If you and I were thinking this at the same time, and then that just happened,
And then
maybe."
her daughter validated it.
1,000%. That
Yeah.
she could not argue it after that point. And so literally it was after that experience that I wasn't being called the crazy one to my face as often as possible, as I thought. So
I made a post about that. Um, I duetted somebody on TikTok and posted it on my other socials, a gentleman who's following his path of whatever he's, doing with his life, and how family and friends have secret group chats where they'll share his content and trash talk him.
Right.
And then he got a brand deal. And he's like, those very same people who've been trash talking me behind my back in their secret group chats and conversations are now trying to be my friend all of a sudden because I got a brand deal.
Right.
And I'm just like, you know, I the people who are in my circle who call me crazy and who aren't supportive, I have nothing but love for you. And it's okay if you believe I'm crazy,
Yeah.
because I'm on a path and a journey I will not go backwards on. If you want to use me as your scapegoat,
Yep.
if you want to use me as the person to, trash talk for fun to make yourself feel better, because that's what it is. When people are trash talking us, like trolls, or people we know, which is hurtful when it's someone you know and love.
Right.
That's their insecurity.
Yep. Hurt
That's
people hurt
them.
people.
That's them being afraid to explore anything other than what the mainstream tells them to.
Exactly.
So anybody who's off that mainstream, that's so scary. I couldn't do that. You're weird. You know how many times I've been called weird in my life?
My
I was
whole
weird
life.
because, yeah, I was weird because I was smart. I was weird because I liked science. I was weird because I used a big vocabulary. I'm
I
like, That's just the way I talk.
I
I
was
can't
weird
help
because I
it."
read the dictionary when I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, in fifth
I
grade.
used to I had a huge giant dictionary. I taught myself sign language when I was a little girl. Just the
I did that
ABCs.
too. I started to do that too. Yeah.
Just the
But
ABCs.
and later on in life, I find out that I'm autistic, and some of these things are also things that people within the on the spectrum do as well. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's good to be weird. I let that freak flag fly. But we've talked about this too before, especially in the line of work in which we do. It's like using that negative energy and
Mhm,
transmuting that energy so that it
mhm.
works for us and not against us.
Yep.
I Go ahead, throw your hate, throw your shade towards me.
I'll catch it and
I
I will
transmute
make
that stuff and I
magic.
use it all over. Spirit
Mhm.
fingers, I
Yep.
got it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so that's we've talked about this, the awakening process and stuff, but I find it so enlightening and refreshing and exciting, especially like it's so funny watching people talk about their awakenings, because especially when it's just happened or like brand new, because
Mhm.
they're still like, I mean, I feel crazy, and I mean, am I crazy, and I'm like, no,
Mhm.
this is totally natural, like, but you're just sitting there like, congratulations, way to
Yeah.
go, like.
I had someone to ask me a question the other day, someone who's going through an awakening and they don't realize they are, but I didn't tell them they were
That,
because
yeah.
it's a sensitive subject. And they were like, it's just really hard to deal with people who think this certain way, kind of a way this person used to think, but now is changing and evolving. And they're like,
Right.
I can't handle it. I don't know what to do. I said, you know what happens when we grow? And that's just when we grow, we realize it's hard to deal with other people who aren't growing.
Right.
And they were like, oh, and I'm like, this is why I can't say, going through a spiritual awakening, dummy.
Right. Well, they have
But
to they have to discover this themselves. I
yeah,
mean, this is what
right.
I believe.
And that's why I didn't say you're going through a spiritual awakening. I was just like, this is growth, just growth,
Yes. Exactly.
generalized growth,
Personal growth. Exactly.
personal growth. But
Yes.
really, the subject he was talking about was very much an awakening
Yes.
for
But
sure.
I love it when they know what it is now. They've realized, and they're just like, this is amazing and I feel so positive, and and I'm like, whoa, whoa, don't be let's not be too, it's like
Right.
it
There's
you
hard
do
parts. There's hard parts to it. And we have a
The so,
question. We have
my
a
girlfriend.
question in the
Oh,
chat.
do you go through God so that only positive energy comes through? This is interesting. I was literally just about to kind of touch upon this
Good.
because
Perfect. Isn't that
today,
funny?
yeah, right. Today, during the conversation that I was having with my girlfriend, she said something to the effect of, the upside to this is like seeing the world now from this whole new perspective. I've been
Hmm.
awakened and it's so refreshing and I feel so invigorated and, positive. She's like, but the downside is now I'm seeing everybody in a whole new light.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
she's like, the people, like the really truly negative people, and it's disheartening and
Hmm.
disgusting. And
It's
I'm like, yeah,
exactly what I was just talking about with that other person. Exact same
right.
conversation.
And so to kind of touch upon your question, Sandra, like, God, spirit, whatever it is that a person believes, to get them through, that is the lighter side, of course. That is, the more positive side of, any belief system, right?
Hmm.
But I do always say, though, especially for as long as I've been on my path, in order to really appreciate the light and the positive and the good, you really have to have a good handle on and a good understanding of the negative and the bad. And I think
Yeah.
for many healers, we come from backgrounds where we've experienced trauma and bad and things like that. So it's like you have to have a really grounded understanding of all of that first to really
Hmm.
truly appreciate the light, because not everything is butterflies, rainbows, and
Right.
roses, so
And I want to also address this, Sandra. I grew up in an organized religion and I practiced it most of my life, but I always had questions, especially because I have a background in science. So, of course, any person with, a science background is going to question some of the inconsistencies in the Bible, which I have read the Bible. I get that a lot.
yeah,
You should read the Bible. Yeah, I've done that many times.
yeah,
Um, and I came to this conclusion a few years ago because I understand energy and physics. Everything in the universe is energy. Our consciousness, our soul, our spirit, however you define that, is energy. And it's all connected. We're all connected to each other. That's why if you're a mom, you can feel like if your daughter's at work and something's wrong, you can feel it, right? Or you're thinking of her,
we
something happened, and she calls you or texts you, "Mom, I need your help." And
we
you're like,
sense
"I
things across the country from each other all the time.
exactly, exactly." So I came to this conclusion. I'm like, this was several years ago. Maybe the universe is God because God, in my opinion, isn't one single man on a cloud on a throne. When the Bible says we are made in his image, my belief is our soul is made in his image. And there's a huge piece of dust that just flew right up in front of me like an orb. How funny. Um, our soul is made in his image and everything is energy. So God would be energy. I don't think God is a person or an entity. I think it's an energy frequency that we're all kind of plugged into. And the purpose of our soul is to grow closer and closer and closer to the main source of the goodness and emotional and spiritual maturity that is God in whatever hierarchy that's in the spirit world. So I don't believe there's negative spirits or demons. I know we talked about this before.
Yeah,
I think there's a negative energy left over by humans for sure, which can manifest in all kinds of crazy ways. But if you want to call it higher power, God, the universe, whatever, to me, it's all one thing. And so, yes, I always use the positive energy of source, God, higher power,
right.
always.
There's a great meme, and I wish that I had it right in front of me. That I've seen it floating around here recently, but it says, um, religions call it God, spiritualists
Yes.
call it energy, Buddhists call it something, but it's
Yeah.
like it's
It's all
all,
the same.
but they all agree that it is something there, and that's
Right.
what it is, you know. And I say the same thing, like, you know, I try to keep it pretty, what's the word, open.
Benign.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
speaking of, though, we're already 40 minutes in and we've got some people watching. Is there anybody that might be interested in a mediumship
Or
reading through the
cards.
soul?
Are you doing cards?
Yep, I've got my cards too. I wanted to keep it light. We were talking about awakenings, and so I've got my, oh, I thought I had the other one. Well, I've got my tattoo tarot, and then I also have the divine energy oracle, and then also some tea leaf fortune cards if anybody is interested in a tarot reading.
I didn't even realize how long we've been talking.
This is such an easy thing to talk about because I
Yeah.
mean, it's, you know, on the spiritual side of things, this is something that pretty much everybody experiences on different levels.
Yep.
And everybody always wants to share their story too. And it's always so inspiring to hear,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how people, you know, tapped in, you know, what
Yep.
were the steps, what were the experiences that you had, you know, because it's different for everyone. So and
Yeah,
if
if you want a mediumship reading, put the first name of the person you want to connect with in the chat, and I'll do a quick reading. And I will just touch again on my awakening and how, I always felt very different. I always felt like an alien. I don't really think I'm an alien. Um, Um, oh, hi, Jason Ghost Hunter. Do you want, well, that's perfect that you're dropping in. Do you want a mediumship or tarot card reading? If you want a mediumship reading, put the first name of someone in spirit and I will connect. Or if you want a tarot, just write tarot. Um, and so anyway, I was always the weird one. I was always just a little different. And so I always kind of knew, I knew I was psychic, but I didn't really 100% take it seriously. Okay, Sandra, which kind of reading? Do you want a mediumship, a first name in of someone you love? If you want tarot, just write tarot. Um, so yeah, it's been hard. I've always kind of felt out of place just in this world, period. But now that I found my tribe, I guess you could say, I am very happy, except for the fact that I'm in Florida. But all right, Jason. Um, let's see. You answered first, so we'll go with you first. I doodle and draw. Jason, have a female here. This could be someone who came through for Sandra first, but I have a female. Do you have a female in spirit that may be a contemporary, either in age or emotional contemporary, meaning this could be a partner, sister, cousin, friend that's a female, or a mother if you were very close, like best friends? Let me know before I continue. And as always, thank you to everybody who is patient while we wait for the chat to load. Because, okay, Sandra, let me see if Tyler, okay, and Holly wants a tarot.
all right.
Awesome. Okay, you don't have a female in spirit, Jason? Okay, that's okay, because there's a female here that wants to talk to you. Think back, this may be someone you knew from school a long time ago. And I'll just get a message from her and then I will read. Okay. It's unusual that someone would not have a female in spirit in their life, but that's okay. I'll just get a message. She's she's laughing and saying, keep doing good work, and she wants to say, stand up for your rights. Stand up for your right to continue doing what you're doing, because I feel like you're getting some pushback on some of your projects, and she's saying stand up and do it. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Now, if this isn't someone you know, you may remember later that you have a female in spirit. This happens all the time. It's called psychic amnesia. People forget. This happened to me in a reading once where the lady came in for a mediumship reading for her fiance. He showed up immediately and she didn't recognize him. So I pushed him away and she had to call back and get another reading later. So, just your message from this female in spirit is keep moving forward with what you're doing and stand up for what you believe in. Okay, Jason, I hope that makes sense for you. You can just put in the chat if it does. If it doesn't, that's okay. Just that message can be for anyone. And do you want to do tarot for Holly and then Sandra? Come or Mike. Oh yeah. Okay. Keep going. Keep moving forward, Jason. So the message was appropriate for you. You want to go
I
ahead
love
and do the yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
So,
Tarot for
and yeah,
Holly, and then I'll do Sandra after that for Tyler. I'll connect while you're.
fantastic. And then to Jason, we just had our ghost a ghost live stream last week, so make sure you go
Mhm.
check that episode out also. I love ghost hunting. My daughter and I do it as well. I'm a super Scorpio, so we have the spirit talker and everything.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love connecting with spirit. Um, okay, so Holly, the moment that you said that you wanted a reading, I started. I have the tea leaf fortune cards, and I started shuffling. And the moment that you said it, they started dropping out. So I just want to show you the cards that popped out. There was there was sunrise. I don't know if that's going to focus, and it means create new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. Then we had the money path card, and this is a path with money is waiting for you to find it. Then we had bread, period of prosperity and abundance. Like these are all very positive cards falling out together. And then underneath the deck was the ladder climbing towards success. What this is telling me and excitement behind that and the horseshoe good luck behind that. What is this is telling me is you either could be coming into a new job, a new position, a new project, but it's going to bring you a period of prosperity, with maybe even a path to even bigger, bigger opportunity, and a fresh start for something. Then the other half of the deck, we had the angel underneath the deck, and this is spiritual guidance, protection from harm. Because then we had clouds where temporary problems might pop up, but then you will be playing a different role. And I feel like this could be having to do something with this money path, obviously. Um, with this period of prosperity and abundance. So again, if you're like changing jobs, changing roles, some kind of a promotion, there you could have some hiccups that has to do with that, but by and large, you're climbing towards success, and there's nothing but prosperity and creative new ideas, new ventures that are coming, and it looks beautiful. Underneath the deck, we've got this is for the divine energy oracle. It's choose friends wisely, so maybe
Mhm.
that has something to do with temporary problems. Careful who you speak to, careful who you talk
Mm.
to, especially when it comes to your abundance, comes to your wealth. You don't like people can get really snaky, especially when you're talking about coming into a period of prosperity. People will become jealous for no reason and then talk about all of your secrets and all of the things, and that is the killer
Mhm.
of all manifestation. When
Mhm.
everybody knows your business, it's going to kill the energy that you need to in order to manifest it in the ways that you want it to. So just careful who you're speaking to about your what you've got going, because you're reaching for the stars. Again, this is talking about prosperity, abundance, climbing towards success, a path with money. That path is straight up. This is what you've got. Reach for the stars. Okay, so that's just the energy going into this. What do we have for Holly, please? 3 cards for Holly, calling in our spirits for higher peace, power, protection, and prosperity for the greater good. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Energy going into this is the 3 of Swords. There may have been some heartbreak or disappointment in some kind of a situation. I feel very strongly that it has to do with miscommunication, or communication that was just like misunderstood, miscommunication, right? That also could be maybe a friend that you were speaking to. Choose better friends. Careful who you speak to. But what do we have for Holly, please? Current situation, current energy. 3 cards, please. What does she need to know? Okay. 2 more, please. It's the 9 of Wands, but it's something that happened in the past. Okay. Then we have the High Priestess, which is the tarot card reader of the zodiac. She's the know all, sees all. Just means that either A, you're getting tarot card readings, which is happening right now, and or it's a card of intuition, using your intuition, making your decisions. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so the first card that I pulled up, like I said, is the 9 of Wands. This is the Wounded Warrior energy. I actually love
Mm,
this card.
mm,
It's fire energy, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. You could have it somewhere strong in your chart, or someone you're dealing with could. But this is the energy of a wise leader, somebody who's been through the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. They've been through the trenches. They're very wise, though, because they have all of that knowledge and wisdom from those experiences. They're just tired. They're ready to get that 10th wand, lay down the burdens, and start a new cycle. Nines are all about culmination points. So you're at the very end of something that you started in the past. Um,
mm.
and it's time for a new cycle. And I feel like it's like this new venture, a fresh start somewhere. Um, Intuitively, spirit is saying that, you use your intuition to make the best decision, but you also may be consulting with tarot readers and the other side, other forms of divination, in order to help you make these decisions, because that's what the High Priestess is all about. She's the know all, see all, and it's just about going within. Then, interestingly enough, we've got the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords is like a done, da done, da done. Like it's the end of something. Um,
Mm.
Swords, again, they're all about communication. This is Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. I'm sorry. No, this is Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy. You could have that somewhere strong in your chart, or the person or situation that could be strong air energy. I feel like this is a situation that has to do with communication or lack thereof. And you're deciding to shut down whatever the situation or relationship is, cutting it completely out of your life, so that underneath the deck you can move quickly to this new relationship. And it does look like it's work related as well. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. This is a promising new start. The Ace of Pentacles is like abundance, wealth, security, a new job, a new promotion, a new endeavor of some sort, but this is money. And then we've got the Chariot. This is water energy, but it's fast moving momentum, you going from one, like, point A to point B. You could also be taking a short trip. This could involve a car. Um, then we've got the Two of Cups. That's a new relationship. It can be a romantic relationship, but this also, notice how they're kind of like shaking hands there. It
Mhm.
could be like a partnership, something that you're absolutely going to love. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles. This talks about being a master at what you do, being very good at your work. Pentacles are work, coins, finance, the things that are going to bring you money. And that's why I feel like, very strongly, this is a new partnership or a new job or some kind of new opportunity that's coming in, that's going to, uh, from what I see with all the other cards, it's really going to be successful for you. Prosperity and abundance. You'll be playing a different role, but that may mean to say goodbye to something from your past in order for you to move on and take this new one. It also could be mean like cutting people out of your life. Friends that you can't trust, people that you can't, that you can't say things to, and intuitively, this. And
Mm.
so it's the spirit is saying, pay attention to who you talk to, what you say. And that is what I have for you. Reach for the stars, choose your friends wisely, but it's a beautiful spread. So I hope that helps.
I know Holly, and I can tell you that a lot of that, from what I know, is very on point. If she wants,
Amazing.
Holly, if you want to type anything in and give Abby some feedback, that would be awesome. We always love feedback. And some of
Clarification.
it, yeah, some of it may, just like with mediumship, it doesn't mean when I do mediumship readings, a lot of times people think this has to be happening today. And no, it could have been 5 years ago. It could have been 25 years ago. It could have
Or it could
been
happen in 2 weeks from now,
exactly. You
you
know
know?
how many emails I get later and they're like Jason might realize, oh yeah, my friend from high school, blah, blah, blah. She had a car accident or whatever. And then he might remember later. And that happens to me all the time. And I'm sure it happens to you as a tarot reader as well. People are like, oh, that doesn't make sense. And then I was doing I was doing a reading the other day for a woman, and I said to her, your person, I won't say what the relationship was, your person
Thank you,
was,
Holly. Sorry.
oh, no problem.
She said that was
Um,
great. Yes, you're on point. So I appreciate you.
this person in spirit was born early, was very small, and had illnesses throughout their life, and then seemed to get better, but then had another illness that contributed to their passing. And the client said, no, that didn't happen. And then I went on and I'm like, okay. And then I said something else about their passing. No, that didn't happen. I'm like, well, it either has to be that one or that one. Okay. That's the only two things that could happen.
Right.
And she goes, no, she was sick her whole life. And then she got another sickness and passed away. I said, just to reiterate, I said that earlier, just when you watch the recording, that's what I said. But she was so emotional before the reading that she just wasn't computing anything I was saying, and that
She was only
happens.
hearing what she was thinking she heard. Yeah, I get
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. It happens all the time. So Sandra for Tyler, are you still here, Sandra? Let me know. And thank you all for being patient. While I wait for Sandra's comments, I want to talk about the Spirit Exchange. All the information for the Spirit Exchange is below. And the Spirit Exchange is an annual membership where you will be invited to 10 gallery style readings via Zoom. There's a bunch of people already signed up for it. It's the price of one reading by myself or medium Kathi Behrens. And it is, you will get a free private one-on-one 15-minute reading with one of us when you sign up by March 18th. And we will be giving away a free prize at the end of every gallery. And the first session is April 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And all of the dates are listed below. I have a BOGO sale for readings for tomorrow. I opened up 2 more spaces for tomorrow's readings. BOGO 50 is the coupon code. And that's all also listed below. My beginner's mediumship class starts March 16th. All of that information is linked below. And Sandra, I don't know what happened to Sandra.
Sandra, if you are still there, last call to get your
This
mediumship reading.
Yeah, I did this earlier. I was doing readings. I had an earlier life for my people in other countries and across the pond because of the time zones. And I called out to the person and called out to the person and called out and called out and called out and called out. And
Oh,
like 10
she's
minutes
there.
later,
She says, yes,
oh,
I
okay.
am.
Hi.
Yay.
The chats take forever.
They do. Yeah, there's like a lag or something.
Yeah. Okay. So Sandra for Tyler. So I'm feeling was now again, there's people on here, so this could be for somebody else, but I'm feeling a younger male for you. Is this your son? Or maybe a male that's contemporary but was emotionally immature. Just let me know. That happens a lot. Sometimes I go by the energy and I'll say best friend and it'll be a girl. She'll like, it's my mom. She was my best friend. And so, that makes a difference with the energy. So let me know. And we will just hang out while we wait for the chats. Thank you to everybody for being patient. I know these chats take forever to load. I had someone on my earlier live from South Africa, and I was trying to give her a reading, and it was taking 2 or 3 minutes between each piece of evidence and getting the response, which may be happening here.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do a reading like that because you kind of lose your connection.
It's
Um,
it's funny because as you're saying that, I pulled up the card. Oh, she goes, "I'm here."
okay. Sandra, do you have, is Tyler your son or a male that would have been younger emotionally? I just need a yes or no to that before I continue the reading. And I've gotten a couple of weird emails from people about, so be careful getting emails from people or private messages. I know Abby and I will never ever private message anyone for a reading. There are people who duplicate our social media. They'll duplicate a similar email and they'll send things out. I get people who are pretending to be me sending me private messages telling me, Grand Rising, I feel an energy about you. Those are all scams. Nephew. Okay, so a younger male. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm going to just make the connection. Um, with Tyler. So, and it's going to be so hard because the chat's taking so long. I'm hearing there was an accident. Now, when I say that, some people think it means that's what's caused the passing. This could be an accident that happened prior to the passing, or this could have been an accident that caused the passing. Something sudden and accidental. And Abby, if she types anything, will you let me know?
Yep, I'm watching.
And then I feel there's an addiction in the scenario. So either Tyler or someone in his close orbit. Someone suffering from addiction, and I'm hearing trauma. And then, pardon?
I just saw a heart go up.
Oh, okay.
Sandra, can you confirm any of this?
And then I'm hearing tattoos. So either Tyler had tattoos or someone got tattoos in his honor or is thinking about getting a tattoo. So answer any of those questions. And while I wait for that to load, I will get a message from Tyler to his mom. If you have contact with his mother, I almost feel like this is your sister or a close, yes, big delay. I almost feel like this is your sister's son, or you're very close to his mother, or have some type of relationship with her that you could get information to her. He wants to talk to his mother. So please just type in whatever you can and let me know. And he's saying, Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, I'm sorry. He's apologizing to his mom. So if you could get, for whatever reason, he's giving her an apology. And because we're not getting information back and forth, it's hard to know exactly what's going on in the reading. So let me know if you understand any of that. Type in as much as you can, and just know your nephew's safe and at peace. And he's just really wants to talk to his mom, or he's talking about her a lot. So know that he's safe and at peace. And please tell the family members who would be interested and open that he's okay. He's not alone in spirit. He has people around him, loved ones in the family circle. And show me a teddy bear. So I don't know if someone put a teddy bear with him after his passing. Let me know if you understand any of that. This delay is maddening on social media. I don't understand how it can take so long. But Sandra, please let me know how much of that you understand, and please give the rest of the family love from Tyler. And I will stay on here until I see some more information from you. Anybody, do you want to do one more tarot?
I'm down if there's anybody else out there that would like one tonight.
Okay, while I wait for Sandra, if anybody else is here, there's several people on here. If anybody else is on here that wants a tarot reading, Yes, she's on here with me. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. So let me know, either Sandra or the mom, type in if you know, if you can understand any of the stuff I said. And if anybody wants a tarot reading, let me know, or let Abby know.
In the meantime, I wanted to know what you thought about all the phones going down last week. Um,
It
Solar
didn't,
flares. Did they
was,
have?
is that what it was?
There was 3 within 24 hours.
Oh, I didn't even know what or his
Or his
friends did.
friends did it. You mentioned friends. Something about
Um,
his friends.
okay, but I don't know if this has something to do with the accident and addiction. So can you clarify the accident and addiction? And was this an addiction passing because of his addiction? And you're asking, did his friends do it? I do not get that feeling. I do not get a feeling that somebody purposefully did this to him. I feel like it was an accident because that's what came through for me first. So can you type that in, please? You can just tell me how he passed now that we're at the end of that. So I didn't know it was a solar flare. So
3
do
of
you
them.
want to hear the scariest thing that's going to happen to us? For sure. 1,000,000% for sure. At
Okay.
some point, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 1,000 years, but it's definitely going to happen to Earth. And when I was teaching this in high school and in college, I used to teach all boys. So you can imagine there's something called a coronal mass ejection from the sun. It's like a gigantic solar flare that flies off the sun, bigger than a normal one. And there was one in, I want to say late 1800s, early 1900s, that caused a huge blackout. Now, there wasn't, everybody didn't have electricity then.
Right?
Yes, we understand. Okay, thank you, Sandra. And to Tyler's mom, because I just kept feeling her energy. He's saying he's sorry and definitely accident. Okay, so know that it wasn't on purpose. Somebody didn't do this to him. They may have been around and partying together, but it was an accident. Um, so the coronal mass ejection will literally the particles, the electrically charged particles from the sun will eventually hit us, a direct hit. And we have something called a magnetosphere that protects the earth. Otherwise, none of our electricity would ever work because of the solar flares.
Mm-hmm.
But for some unknown reason, there are holes in our magnetosphere. Scientists don't know why. And it comes from the core of the planet, the iron and nickel core, which causes the magnetic field. Well, there's some holes in it.
Okay.
And if we get a coronal mass ejection or a giant solar flare that hits where that hole is, say
We're all
goodbye.
zapped.
Oh, he hung himself. So that's
Okay.
why I was saying he's sorry.
I have to say something here.
Okay.
Uh, I had just pulled cards. I I just pulled new cards, but when we were first talking about this, I had pulled cards, and the Hanged Man came out, and I didn't want to say it then, but they just clarified it right now, and I'm very sorry to hear that. But that card popped up on me too. Um, and that, yeah, you were looking for clarification. I'm sorry, that just
Yeah, no,
surprised me.
no, that's part of how spirit works, right?
So the card I'm so I shuffled and laid out 3 more cards. So what just came out, and this may help them, is the devil, which toxicity of any kind, overthinking over, depression, any of that. This was in the past.
Not the literal devil.
No.
not the
No,
literal devil.
no,
That's a symbol
it
for negativity.
it's a symbol for negativity. It also could stand for Capricorn if he's a Capricorn or has that in his chart somewhere. But it was just there was a sense of toxic, uh, uh, there was toxicity involved,
Mhm.
whether it was actual drugs or alcohol or anything like that, or just depression or a toxic feeling. That's what that is. Then we have victory. And I feel like this is in the present tense. This was a victorious message that just came through. I feel like because what it's bringing is temperance, balance. Temperance is the angel of the tarot deck. We
Mm,
literally have it was the devil, victory, message got through,
mm,
angel, you are protected. He's watching over you. This brings
mm.
balance to the
Beautiful.
situation. The devil and the angel showed up. So that just shocked me. I love that so much. So I
Yeah,
hope
it's
that helps
shocking
both
when
of
you
you.
get something so clear like
Oh
that,
my god,
that
my
card
heart
popped up.
chakra exploded.
Yep.
Like it's still, I'm having
Mhm.
palpitations right now. So just want you to know. And it's like we've talked about this too because we what is the double link all the
Double link.
time.
Double
We
link. Mhm.
and but I'm like, I don't want to say something like that until it's clarified. And then I just kept pulling cards, but King's Man came up and I was like, oh dang, okay.
Yep. Did you show it? Because I feel
No,
like I
I
heard you
didn't because you were
oh, I thought I
talking.
heard you say it before.
No, you were talking and I was just looking at the cards. I was like, oh, and I just kept shuffling, but
Yeah,
that's
you
what
didn't.
came out.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, next time, just say it.
I will.
Um, and so just one more question, Sandra. Was there, and I'm not sure if you answered this or not, was there addiction around him and his friends? Because I almost feel like the hanging may not have been on purpose. I just feel he just keeps saying accident. Like I don't know. If there was no note or signs, I don't know that it was something he really meant to do. Um, I just don't feel that there was anything nefarious. So just if you could let me know anything about that. Abby, do you want to tell us all about all of your stuff? Yes, and there was a something but
Addiction.
addiction between
Addiction
him.
between him and
Okay.
his friends.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just don't feel like this was nefarious. I feel like maybe it was an accident he didn't really mean to go through with it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And
And
yes,
addiction makes
you are
sense with the
protected.
devil showing. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
And
Well,
again, just for everyone to know, there is no literal devil. I do not believe in a literal devil. The devil is made up by people and it's used as a control mechanism and a fear mechanism, and it's just a symbol. There
yeah.
isn't a literal evil spirit trying to make people do bad things.
Right.
My opinion.
Fear monger. That's what that
Fear.
is. Yep.
Yep.
That's what that is.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, Abby Wright, the Cannastrologer. You can find me on here on YouTube at the Cannastrologer Tarot. Um, can you send a message to especially for his mom listening right now? Send a-
Yes. So the message is, Mom, I'm sorry. That's what I was saying earlier. So I don't know if she was on there or on here earlier when he came through with that message. The message is, Mom, I'm sorry. He really feels bad for leaving the way he did. And I just keep hearing accident. I just keep hearing it. He just keeps pushing it towards me. Um, maybe they were playing around, maybe they didn't mean to. What do you got?
this just popped up again. The Temperance, the angel. Like, he's trying to come through saying he's fine. Things are
Yep.
balanced. He's protecting you. He's protecting his family. He's there to balance things out.
Yep.
So everything's fine.
He's safe, he's at peace, he's around loved ones. I don't know if you guys have a mother in spirit, because I feel like there's a grandma with him, either your mom or your mom's mom. I feel like there's a grandma energy there with him. So no, he's safe, he's at peace, he's surrounded by love. And tell me if you understand the tattoo. Did he have tattoos or did somebody get one in his honor? If you can. And Abby, you were talking about your stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said tattoo because I'm using the tattoo tarot today too. So that's just funny. Um, So yeah, right now, as far as specials go, and you know what, I should have said this earlier. Actually, because I had a contest going, and I told some people, some of my signs and readings or whatnot, that I would still offer 50% off. So anybody watching this video, I will continue to offer 50% off of any of my readings for
Mm.
the next 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of March. So, yes, he had a tattoo. He was identified by that. His mom also had a tattoo put in his honor. Yep,
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
wonderful.
Beautiful.
But yeah, you can find any of my information below this video. All you have to do is reach out, just shoot me an email. I will not reach out to you. You can always connect through me through any of my socials as well. And that's about it right now. I'm working on my next giveaway. So just stay tuned and follow me on my YouTube channel. And you can watch any of I do weekly general readings for all of the different zodiac signs. And all of that is free. But if you'd like your own personal reading that you saw us do today, just make sure you hit me up in the information below this video. And I will see you guys on the flip side.
And if you comment below, I can send Abby the message if you want to get a hold of her that way. And Abby's weekly messages for each zodiac sign are amazingly detailed. I always watch mine every week and I love them. They're so good. So I am Peaceful Nik the Medium, and all of my links are below. Again, the Spirit Exchange is an annual membership. You'll get 10 gallery readings over the next year. It's the price of one full reading for an entire year. You will get a free private mini reading with either myself or Kathi Behrens. When you sign up by March 18th, will give a free prize away at the end of every gallery. I have a BOGO flash sale for tomorrow. I opened up 2 more spots. If you go to my website and you want a half price reading, put in the coupon code BOGO50 and you'll get half off any reading for tomorrow. And my beginner's mediumship class starts March 16th. And thank you guys all for being here. Abby, you're wonderful and beautiful and lovely as always. And thank you to
Likewise.
everybody. And next Friday, I will not be available.
Okay. Actually, I won't either. I think if
Perfect.
I'm
Oh, that's
yeah, the
right.
trip I was trying to take this weekend, I think is happening next weekend, so that'll work out.
Okay,
So
perfect. We will.
pause on a show next week, I
Yep,
guess. Okay.
yep. Pause for
All right.
next week. And all right, love to all, peace to all, and have a good night.
See
Bye.
you later. Bye.
Bye.